It feels like the way we all work is changing, like every single day. And right at the front of all that change, you've got recruitment.
Yeah, I mean, it's not about just finding someone, anyone to fill a position anymore. It's really about understanding what work is going to look like moving forward.
Exactly. And of course, one of the biggest things driving this whole transformation is AI, artificial intelligence.
Absolutely. And this isn't something that's just relevant to people in HR or, hiring managers. These shifts in how companies are finding people, how they're attracting new talent, it's something that affects everyone. I mean, whether you're out there looking for a new job, whether you're part of a team that's being built, or heck, even if you're just curious about the future of work, it's something we're all going to be impacted by.
That's exactly why we wanted to do this deep dive into LinkedIn's report, The Future of Recruiting 2025.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It really is. And it's not just, some small survey or a couple of opinions. They really went deep,
Yeah.
talking about billions of data points from their platform, surveys of over 1,000 professionals, and even conversations with people who are leading the way in the future of recruitment.
Absolutely. And that's really what makes this report so valuable. All that data, it lets us see beyond just what's trendy right now. It's letting us see these really significant shifts that are happening, like real changes.
Yeah.
So our goal today is to pull out the most important parts of this report, especially how AI is changing, like completely changing what it means to be good at recruiting, like being excellent at it.
Yeah.
We really want to make sure that by the end of this deep dive, you understand how the world of work is changing and, importantly, what it all means for you as you navigate it.
Okay. So obviously, AI in recruitment is the big thing.
Front and center, yeah.
One of the things that immediately jumped out to me in the report was how fast people are adopting it. I mean, they found that 37% of organizations are now actively using or at least experimenting with generative AI tools. And when you compare that to the year before, which is only 27%, that kind of increase in just a year tells you this isn't just, people testing the waters. It's happening.
Yeah, it's not just companies trying to be on the cutting edge of technology for no reason. I mean, the report makes it clear the main reason this is all happening so fast is efficiency. Organizations that are using generative AI to hire people, they're saving something like 20% of their work week. Think about it. That's basically an entire extra day every single week.
Wow.
That's a huge amount of time freed up for teams to focus on more important things.
It really emphasizes how much the role of the recruiter is changing. I mean, as AI takes on those more routine tasks, the need for really human skills is like exploding.
Yeah.
The report even mentions this crazy statistic. There's been a 54 times increase in the number of employers who are specifically listing relationship development as a required skill for recruiters.
Wow, 54 times.
Yeah, you can't ignore a number like that. It's a total shift in what companies are prioritizing.
For sure.
And what I find really fascinating about that huge increase in demand for those relationship building skills is that it tells us the role itself is evolving. Recruiters are moving away from just managing the process and becoming more strategic.
Yeah.
The report actually quotes the founder of Recruiting Toolbox, and he imagines these recruiters acting a lot more like career coaches, especially when they're talking to candidates who have more complex situations. He describes it almost like giving people an executive recruiter level of experience, like for a wider range of candidates.
Right.
It's about building those deeper connections and giving more personalized advice. Which makes sense. I mean, if AI is taking on those first steps, like screening candidates and some of the paperwork, that human connection becomes even more important,
Yeah.
Especially when you're dealing with those more strategic conversations. But the report doesn't just focus on the positives. It acknowledges some of the challenges that come with, moving so quickly towards generative AI. Things like, how do we protect data privacy, making sure everything's legal, and just the practical side of actually implementing these tools, especially in a big company.
Right. And that brings us to, what's being called responsible adoption. How do we do this right? And the report talks about some really important strategies for avoiding some of those potential problems. One interesting idea they highlight is AI self-enablement for the people who are leading these teams.
Interesting.
Yeah. Basically, it means that anyone who's leading talent acquisition needs to really know how to use AI, like themselves.
Yeah.
The curator of Recruiting Brain Food actually says that leaders need to understand this stuff firsthand so they can make smart choices about how their teams use this technology.
That's a great point. It makes sense. You can't lead people in using something that you don't understand yourself.
Yeah.
The report also talks about AI playgrounds.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
It's basically giving recruiters a safe space
Yeah.
to play around with these tools. to see for themselves how they can use them to make things easier, like writing job descriptions or even those first messages to candidates.
Right.
It's about making the technology seem less intimidating, you
Yeah,
know, and really fostering a culture of experimentation.
for sure. And along with just getting comfortable with the technology, the report also emphasizes how important it is to use AI in the right way, what they call responsibly. That means being careful about choosing the right tools, tools that fit with the company's values. It's about really trying to find and fix any biases that might be built into the technology. And it's also about understanding what AI can't do, what are its limits. And the creators of the report, LinkedIn, actually offer a really good framework for this. 5 guiding principles, right?
All right.
Advance economic opportunity, uphold trust, promote fairness and inclusion, provide transparency, and embrace accountability. Principles like that are going to be crucial as AI becomes more and more ingrained in everything we do.
Absolutely. It really all comes back to that human element, even when we're talking about AI. And the report also talks about the need for training, but not just any training, targeted training.
Hmm.
And it's not just teaching people how to use the latest platform. It's about reinforcing those really human skills, like how to communicate well and how to build relationships, which we've already seen are becoming even more important.
Totally. Okay, so we've talked about how AI is changing how we recruit, but the report also dives into something that's always been important, but is becoming even more so now, the quality of hire.
Right.
In this kind of unpredictable business environment, there's a clear trend back to focusing on hiring people who are going to provide value over the long term. We had that period, especially during the Great Reshuffle, when speed was everything. It was all about filling those empty positions as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But now companies want to make sure that each new person they bring in is a good fit for the long haul.
Yeah, every new hire is an investment. Companies want to make sure it's a good one. And the report actually points out a really interesting statistic. 89% of talent professionals believe that being able to measure how good a hire is going to become even more important. But, and here's the kicker, only 25% are actually confident that their organization can do that effectively.
Wow. So almost everyone agrees that it's important, but very few people feel like they can do it well.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's this big gap between knowing it matters and actually being able to do it.
Right.
And that's where AI can really change things. The report suggests that 61% of talent professionals think AI can help them figure out how to measure quality of hire, because AI tools can analyze huge amounts of data about employee performance, right? So they can pick out patterns that lead to success, and maybe even predict long-term success, which is something we couldn't do before. And the report mentions Siemens as an example. They're using AI to get a better understanding of the skills candidates have and their potential.
It's really cool. And it looks like it's working. The data from LinkedIn shows that companies whose recruiters are using AI-assisted messaging are 9% more likely to make a good hire. Now, it's important to understand how LinkedIn defines quality of hire. They look at a few things: how much demand there was for that position, how long the person stays at the company, and if they move up within the company. So while different companies might measure this differently, it definitely suggests that AI is having a positive impact.
Yeah, and here's another interesting connection the report makes. The link between a company's employer brand and how well they do at hiring good people. They're saying that companies that have a good reputation for giving their employees what they want, like opportunities to work with talented people, for example, are better at attracting and keeping those high-quality employees. So it's not just about getting people in the door, it's about creating a workplace where they want to be and where they can do their best work.
It's really interesting. So building a strong employer brand isn't just about looking good. It's directly tied to the talent you attract and ultimately hire. And the report gets really practical, too. It dives into some strategies for companies that want to figure out how to measure and improve the quality of their hires. They talk about Uber's 3-part framework, for example.
Oh, yeah.
It's about developing clear success profiles for each job, creating standardized ways to assess people, and then checking in to see how those hires are doing after they've been in the role for a while.
It's like a really systematic approach, data-driven.
Yeah. And the report also lays out some of the most common ways talent professionals are currently measuring quality of hire. Things like performance ratings, how long new hires stick around, and how satisfied hiring managers are. And, regardless of what a company chooses to focus on, the important thing is to consistently measure and see what's working and what needs to be improved.
Makes sense.
And not surprisingly, AI is starting to play a role in these measurement efforts, too. The report mentions LinkedIn's own experiments with using AI tools to analyze things like interview recordings and transcripts. The goal is to find patterns and get insights that can help make the hiring process better and lead to, hiring those better quality candidates. Again, it's about using data to make smarter decisions.
It really is.
Okay, so we've seen how AI is affecting how we recruit and this renewed focus on who we're recruiting, people who will provide long-term value. Let's talk about the growing emphasis on skills-based hiring. The report makes it clear that employers are really looking for people who can fill those specific skill gaps, including skills related to AI itself. And over 90% of talent professionals believe that being able to accurately assess a candidate's skills is crucial to improving the quality of hires. Interestingly, LinkedIn's data shows that companies that do a lot of skills-based searches on their platform are 12% more likely to make a quality hire. That's pretty significant.
Yeah, that's a big difference. It really highlights how important it is to focus on what someone can actually do, like their skills. It's not just about looking at their job titles or where they went to school. And the report says that AI is making skills-based hiring a lot easier and more doable on a large scale, because AI tools can analyze resumes and applications specifically looking for certain skills.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they can automate skill assessments and even help reduce bias in those early screening stages. So you're getting a much clearer, more objective picture of what a candidate can actually do.
And that shift towards focusing on skills also has a direct impact on how recruiters are spending their time. The report points out that recruiters who are using generative AI now have more time to do things like really screening candidates based on their skills and doing more in-depth skill assessments. So AI isn't just making things faster, it's freeing up human recruiters to focus on those more strategic and evaluative tasks.
It's giving them the time to really evaluate those candidates. And focusing on skills can have huge benefits. It allows companies to find talent from a much wider, more diverse range of people. They might find candidates who have the perfect skills for a job, even if they don't have the traditional resume or education.
Yeah.
And that leads to a much better match between what a person can do and what the job actually requires.
Right.
Which means better hires, more success for the employee, and more success for the company. We're even seeing more and more companies getting rid of degree requirements for certain jobs. That's a big sign that things are changing, that companies are starting to focus more on actual skills.
It really is a fundamental shift in how we think about and evaluate talent. But the report also makes it clear that switching to skills-based hiring takes more than just a change in mindset. Companies need to have a plan.
A strategy.
Exactly. They need to know what skills are absolutely essential for each job, develop new and better ways to assess those skills, and structure the entire hiring process around evaluating a candidate's abilities.
Right. And the report offers some really practical advice for how to do that. One key thing is to use AI-powered tools to figure out what skills are crucial for success in a specific role, and then you can use that information to create job descriptions that attract people with the right abilities. The report also says it's important to go beyond resumes and interviews and use a wider range of assessment methods. Things like skill tests, problem-solving exercises, even simulations of real work situations. They give the example of Siemens using task-based assessments from a company called Arctic Shores.
Interesting.
Yeah, and finally, they emphasize how important it is to make interviews more standardized. Using structured questions specifically designed to assess a candidate's skills fairly. So it's not just about gut feeling anymore. It's about having an objective way to evaluate what a candidate can actually do.
Okay, so zooming out a bit, we're seeing these three powerful forces that are completely changing how companies find and hire talent. AI adoption that's happening super fast, a renewed focus on making sure every new hire is a good one, and this widespread shift towards skills-based hiring. These aren't separate trends. They're all influencing each other.
Yeah, they're all connected.
And all of this impacts you, the listener. Whether you're actively searching for a new job and trying to figure out what employers are looking for, whether you're a hiring manager trying to navigate this changing landscape, or even if you're just interested in the future of work, these are really significant changes. And while AI is definitely automating some of the more routine parts of recruiting, those human skills, like being able to build relationships, think strategically, and communicate effectively, are becoming even more valuable. So it's important to think about the skills we need to develop to succeed in this rapidly changing world.
This deep dive into LinkedIn's report really shows us that we're at a turning point in how we think about talent acquisition. I mean, given how quickly AI is being integrated into recruiting, it makes you wonder what other parts of the employee journey, not just hiring, might change in the near future. It's something to think about.
It really is. And if you found this deep dive helpful and interesting, make sure to follow our show for more discussions like this on important topics. And if you know someone who would benefit from understanding these big changes in recruiting, please share this conversation with them.
And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our future deep dives into the trends that are shaping the world around us.
And if you really want to dig into the details and explore all the findings for yourself, you can find a link to the full report, The Future of Recruiting 2025, in the description below. There's a ton of information there if you want to go deeper.
There really is.
So much great information.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me today for this fascinating look into the future of recruiting.
My pleasure. It's always a good conversation.
Until next time, keep learning and keep growing.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you back here soon for another deep dive.
See you then.